I know it's been a long time that I've been on this channel, and that's just due to the fact that I've been struggling with the resistance of posting these videos, reconciling what I wanted this channel to look like with what the assignment is with making these videos. God has called me to put out the wisdom and the experience that He's given me, and just to regurgitate it out back to people so it may help somebody. And reconciling that was the agenda at hand when I made these videos was necessary for me to come back and approach this channel the right way. And with that, really here to talk about the idea of success. This last year, 2025, was a year of great success for me in terms of the gym, in terms of just general life progression, and that's through the wisdoms and the things that I've shared on this channel in terms of understanding that discipline and consistency, and reconciling complacency, and understanding where you need to apply certain things, and taking a step back and knowing that my life is an example. And as long as I remember those things, it pushes me forward in the advancement of the work I need to do. In one area where was new territory for me was the idea of success. Seeing results from the work that is done can be a really rewarding thing, and with that reward comes a choice, right? Once I was in the gym and I lost a lot of weight and I've seen a lot of consistency in my workout, there is a tendency to want to taper off and get comfortable and say things are good enough, and you lose that hunger and that drive that needs to stay there to keep advancing. And I think in general that's a good problem to have. It's just proof that there has been a leveling up in your journey, but you have to be cognizant of where that can take you and what that means. And I wasn't too keen on it, and I thought it was going to be harder to get from point A to where I'm at now. But truly, the hard work starts where you've seen good growth, and understanding that are you reaching the goals, or are you stopping because you have been applauded at, you've been people have given you the praise, or was there something underlying in you where you just wanted people to recognize the work that you've done? And there's nothing wrong with being recognized, nothing wrong with being awarded, there's nothing wrong with winning, but are we doing it because we wanted to win in the eyes of people, or did we want to win because we had objectives and goals that we had? And that's something I had to ask myself consistently. And I've seen that there's some goals that I have not reached yet because I let the praise and the comfort and the reward that I've gotten now satisfy me on the way to the goal. I think of the concept of the tortoise and the hare, and I started off as the tortoise, slow and steady. We just got to reach the end goal. And I became the hare. I said, well, I can run faster. I know how to get it done, so I could chill out here for a little bit. And that's exactly what got me in trouble. But this principle that came into my mind as I was realizing that I was tapering off in my trajectory was the idea that when you win, you have to work harder. That there is a higher level of resistance that comes when you start to win. That when you start to have success, when you start to build something, when you start to be established, complacency, comfort quickly come into the picture. And if you don't nip those in the bud, if you don't continue to set the goal higher, if you don't continue to build new ways of restoring your hunger for growth, you will get stuck. You will get complacent. You will get bogged down in the enjoyment of the quote-unquote new life you built for yourself. But the whole point is the journey. As we are on this journey of life, chasing Christ, right? Christ was a perfect being, who we serve, a perfect God, which means we are imperfect beings, which means we'll always continuously be chasing that goal, which means that the journey can never end, right? Since we can never achieve perfection, I truly believe that means God is inherently telling us your walk is needs to be seen as something that's almost quote unquote eternal, at least while it's on this earth. As long as you're on this earth, you're gonna have something you need to be progressing in, and that model needs to be emulated through every area of your life. That just because He's elevated you, shown you success, does not mean He doesn't require more. If anything, once at least in my life, there's been a direct activation that once you've done things God has asked you to do, He then gives you more things to do, right? That progress, that bar setting is what keeps you hungry, keeps you going, keeps you showing that don't know that much. You're not as wise as you think you are. You're not as keen and sharp. There's areas that you need to hone and continue to cultivate, and it just reinforces that principle that you need Him in your life, and you need Him to show you what to do, and that you don't know so much. Because the moment you think you know something is the moment you slip off the path, the moment that you roll away from the things that are important and think that you are somebody, that you are something. But then that's that pride and that ego that we've really spent all that time breaking down, trying to find ourselves, trying to find the spirit, man, that God wants to cultivate in our life. So all that to say is, in every area of growth and success, we are ultimately chasing Christ, right? We're chasing that idea of perfection that we really can't reach, just to keep ourselves on the path that He wants us on. But in that chasing Christ, God gives us assignments of things to chase. Like what is He having us pursue as we are pursuing Him? The way, and I've talked about this before, our self-identities, our characters, God has made us in certain ways to do certain tasks. So there's different things that He asks us to do for the advancement of His kingdom. And it's those assignments, it's those things that we need to be conscious of, those goals that we are trying to reach as we are trying to become more realized in ourselves and are more intimate with our relationship with Him. And like for me, this is one of them. God has given me a lot of wisdom, I think, in my life at this young age, and I think it's my duty to share it with others so it can help other people. Not because I need a massive crowd or anything, but if it's just one person that it helps, that is me doing the assignment God has had for me for the advancement of His kingdom. As I'm advancing my life, He wants me to advance other people's life in the direction that He wants them to go. So it's understanding that principle of, with new success, there are new requirements, and you have to continue to push yourself even as God is pushing you, so that in every aspect of your being, it is in line with knowing that growth does not stop. It should not stop. And if it has stopped, you have done something wrong that is out of line with the general objective of the way your life should go. Just like with fitness, we see, I hear people all the time, it's like, there's a statistic that most people gain all the weight back that they lost within 5 years of losing it, right? Because they stopped having goals. They thought that losing the weight was it, but no. When people talk about a lifestyle change, it's really understanding the principle of I have to set a new bar every time I do something. It's the same in the classroom. It's the same at a job. You want a promotion, you want a raise. These principles don't change per industry, per lifestyle. These principles are core, and God tells us that in the Bible, that everything is a representation of His system. And if we can apply those principles across every area of our life, we'll see exponential growth. Not saying that it's easy, but you will reap the benefits of something that is hard, right? It doesn't mean that they're simple in nature, but the execution of them can be difficult. And that desire and that ability to execute will show great growth in your life.